Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to another session of Immigration Times with me, Michelle Sanger. Remember, I'm on every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And this program is just to provide information and response to questions in regards to immigration as it relates to the United States. I'm happy to spend another 15 minutes with you guys to go over things. In the future, the show will go a little bit longer, maybe half an hour. So today I just want to just get everybody to know that I'm on. Tell your family and friends to tune in at 3 p.m. I know it may be a downtime or you may be at work, but you could definitely turn me on while you are doing, driving in your car. Or if you don't have anything to do, you could tune in. And if you have any questions or concerns, you could send me an email at admin@fangerlawfirm.com, or you could give me a call at 904-930-0039. And I'm available to answer all questions that you might have. And if I don't have the questions, if it's more an in-depth analysis of your case, I'll definitely be able to provide you with answers. So I'm excited to go today. Usually with this show, I respond to questions that I've received from individuals, either from the last show or leading up to this show. And I figure that a lot of people might have the same questions, but they might not know how to ask it or do not know who to reach out to get the answers that they need. So you could definitely tune in every week. I'll have different questions. I'll also have guests on the show to talk about different topics that might be of interest to everyone. But one of the major things that I've had consistently, and people have reached out to me, is what to do if they are going through the immigration process. If they have immigration questions, and one of the things I've had with individuals are people asking me what to do if they're going through the immigration process. They got married and their spouse refuses to attend the interview, or the spouse have certain demands leading up to the interview. And a lot of people are in fear, like they either don't show up to the interview, they don't know what to do, or if they're going to get deported. But what I want to say is that those that govern immigration understand that people do go through abusive situations, and they do have things in place to address anybody that is going through an adverse situation in regards to getting their status. So one thing that individual must know is that if you have the petition pending, you have not done your interview, which on a side note, they are waiving a lot of the interviews because of the serious backlog that USCIS have right now, immigration has right now. They are foregoing a lot of the interview. If you submit a comprehensive package and they look at the package and they say, you know what, this is obviously a legitimate marriage, they are together, they'll waive it and send you the card in the mail. They might only ask you to do the fingerprint. In a lot of instances, they might ask you, however, to do an interview, and it's because they have questions based on the package you submitted. They have questions in regards to your relationship. So one, if your spouse refuses to go to the interview, I recommend to my clients and everyone to show up to that interview. Don't not show up. Or if you have advance notice that they're not going to attend, then you can reschedule your interview for another day, right? They'll schedule you for a date in the future. Do not show up, because this might impact you negatively. So just show up. If you're going to show up, you could say to them, the authority that govern, like, spouse isn't going to show up, and moving away from doing the I-130, because for the I-130 petition for a relative, this is the petition that you're saying in a legitimate marriage. It is based on a petition by my spouse. If your spouse is not going to attend and the marriage fall apart, you no longer qualify for that relief of getting it through a spouse. Or you could definitely say, I want to have the option to submit another petition on my behalf at a later date. And what they'll do, sometimes they'll deny your I-130, but they'll say, I'll hold. If you submit the adjustment of status, they'll say, we hold the adjustment of status while you figure out how to navigate or what other options you have. A lot of people might fear going because they said they might be deported and shipped away. Anything could happen, but usually they don't look to deport people if you don't have any serious crimes. So if you do have a serious crime against you, such murder, drug trafficking, human trafficking, anything serious, even though you think like I did not disclose to them, always assume that they know this information. So if you're fearful of that, that's the only reason why they will not, they will put you in deportation proceeding. Usually they don't, but anything is possible. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I like it, tell your family and friends that I'm on. So yeah, so usually you go to the interview or you reschedule it if you know in advance the person's not going to attend the interview. You have several options. If you are in an abusive relationship, you definitely could do what's considered a VAWA. That this is for individuals who have been abused. It's not only for women, it's also for men, because a lot of men go through a lot of abuse situations and they don't talk about it because they say, all right, we're men, so we're not going to talk about it. So definitely, if you are going through an abuse, doesn't have to be physical, where the person is hitting you physically, but an abuse can also be verbal abuse, where they degrade you, or they threaten that they're gonna deport you or get you deported, or financial abuse, where when you work, they take all your earnings and say, we're gonna take your money, we're not giving you your money, or like all these things are abusive. Oftentimes people say, but I have no evidence of it, what can I do? You don't have to have, a lot of people, what they do is if they go through the physical thing, they'll go make a police report. You have a police report, you get a court, you go to court proceedings where you get a protection order against the individual. But oftentimes people don't have this evidence. But there are other things you could use to establish the evidence, and that is why when I say speak to an attorney or somebody that's knowledgeable, where they're able to gather the information that you will need and supporting evidence to support your abuse. Because in reality, a lot of people go through abuse and there's no evidence because they don't say anything. They don't want the shame of it all. But if you do speak to somebody about it, you have a pastor, a friend that you talk about it, that's good. If you have somebody that you notate what's happening and your information is detailed of what's happening in your abuse, in your relationship, then they'll weigh that in regards to how they view your application in regards to an abuse. They'll also look at if it was a legitimate marriage that you enter into, because a lot of individuals enter into marriage with all the best hopes, but things fall apart. And that's just a part of marriage. Not everybody gonna go through it all to the end. So these are things that are weighed when you try to do a VAWA if you're going through an abuse. But I definitely recommend always show up to your interview. If you know in advance that the party will not go to the interview and you think you and your spouse will work it out, you're just having a bad day, then you could definitely ask to reschedule your appointment. For all appointments, whether it's fingerprint interviews, you can always ask in advance to have it rescheduled. Don't not show up or miss appointments, okay? It's very important. Another important thing I could reiterate is that always have an address that you trust, rely on. For me and my clients, I always use my address as the main address. So it means I get all correspondence and I always update my clients on what is happening on their case. I always reach out to them. I said, did you get that document? If they didn't, I have it. Because things can happen. The mail could get misplaced. Somebody might take your mail. So always have somebody that you could rely on and trust with your mail. Also, while you're going through the process, I know people have to move around, but it's a hamper to other cases when you consistently move around, especially to different states outside of the jurisdiction where you actually file an initial petition, because it means that they have to pull your file and send it to another location, which causes a lot of delays in your case. I always tell people, like, try not to move. I know things happen, people have to move a lot, they have no control over it, But I always say to people, just have so you can have your physical address that is separate from your mailing address. So I always say maintain a good address that immigration can contact you, your documents can be sent to. I use my address as an attorney as a safe address to collect documents such as your green card, work permit, travel documents. I use my address because I know I have control over it. And what I do is I reach out to my client and say, listen, I got your card. Give me an address now where you'll get the documents, and I try to send it express. Okay. Thank everybody for tuning in. As I said before, if you're just tuning in, I'm Michelle Fanger, and I'm here every Wednesday at 3 o'clock to provide you with information in regards to immigration. If you have questions, you could definitely send them on to michelle@fangerlawfirm.com, or you could email me at admin@fangerlawfirm.com, or you could call me at 904-930-0039. And you could follow us on Jamaicans.com, and you could send a message through the platform. They will definitely forward me that information. And remember, I'm on every Wednesday, so tell family and friends to tune in. And I look forward to having you on every Wednesday to provide this information. And if you have questions, as I just talked about, going through immigration process, if your spouse is not going to show up. And also another thing I want to highlight is that for children, a lot of children I've seen, they've come to the United States under the belief of the parent's spouse that their status will be regularized, that they will get their legal status. And because of whatever happened with their spouse, their parent and their spouse, then they're left in limbo. You're able to also petition for yourself. There's an option for you to petition for yourself to try to get your green card if your step parent doesn't follow through with what they need to do, or if your parent, because I've had parents who have the children come here and they have done none of their paperwork and have them at home. So you could also, there's an option for you also. Another thing I want to touch on that I got a call is that for individuals traveling here, and I said it before in the other show, because I'm consistently getting calls for individuals who are having their visas revoked because they're coming here to either work or they're coming here on a visitor's visa and end up working, whether it is like my friend's restaurant or I'm staying with my cousin and I'm babysitting. You have to be mindful, because when you have a visitor's visa, you're only required to come here to visit. If you're coming here to work, you have to get the required visa to work. If you're not doing what you're supposed to do on the required visa, they will take it. A lot of people might say, how will they know? The issue is that a lot of people, they do review your information. A lot of people have social media. I don't know if you don't know, when you do the whole visa process, they ask you what is your angle on social media, Facebook, Instagram. You never know if you will be the lucky one where you're being monitored, where they're looking at your profile, see what you're doing and tracking what you're doing. So if you're saying you're coming to visit, but then they see any indication that you're coming here to work, then they're going to ask you about it. Usually they have proof that you are working. So oftentimes I say, just be honest, because sometimes people will say, oh, they don't really know. And you think you're outsmarting them. If they're very specific in their questions, it's highly likely that they have some information that they are privy to. So for instance, if they say, why are you going to say Virginia? Why do you know Cassandra? How do you know Cassandra? That is very specific. So it's kind of saying they know something or they have information. So lying is not going to help you. So just be honest and upfront with them. If it's a situation where you're not coming here to work, but they have you under this assumption that you are, there are ways where you could try to get what's a waiver, that basically asking them permission and providing evidence to say, you know what, the information you have was incorrect and you have evidence to prove it. It's a long shot, but a lot of people have done it and have been successful. There's always a way when you're going through the immigration process for for you to get actual, if you're any violation, depend on the violation, for you to be able to get through to them. So it's very important that you look into these situations. And I always say, speak to an attorney, because you never know your option and how this will benefit you. So this is very important, that while going through the process, always be mindful that you're not violating any immigration laws in the United States. All right. I know that time is running out. It's only 15 minutes. I'm grateful that you have signed in, and I'm excited to be here. Remember, I'm on every Wednesday at 3 p.m. So tell your family and friends to tune in. And again, this is Michelle Fanger, and this is Immigration Times. Have a wonderful afternoon. And in the future, the time will get, to have more time. Because now we're at 15 minutes, but I'm hopeful that it will get to a longer time. All right. So any questions or concerns, you could definitely reach out to me and tune in every Wednesday at 3 p.m. for Immigration Times with yours truly. Have a wonderful afternoon.